The International Olympic Committee has the honor of announcing that the 21st Olympic Winter Games in 2010 are awarded to the city of Vancouver.
In 2010, the world will come to Whistler in search of gold. But searching for gold in these hills is nothing new. Nearly 100 years ago, there was a woman who led the field. A woman whose life would become legend. In 1911, Myrtle Phillip, a young schoolteacher from Maine, arrived on the wild west coast of BC.
Well, Myrtle was, I think, a very adventuresome young woman who came west in the old days. She followed Alec out to the west coast, so he came into Vancouver and took a job as a waiter. While working there one night, a trapper from up here, John Miller, had come in. He was very interesting and talked about the fishing, which really interested them, and the beautiful scenery, and that's how Myrtle and Alec came here. He told them about the great area.
In August of that same year, the Phillips boarded the steamship Bowena and sailed up the majestic Howe Sound to the port of Squamish. It was the beginning of a challenging 3-day journey that would ultimately inspire a lifetime. The following morning, Myrtle and Alex set out along the Pemberton Trail, a 2-day trek that would lead them to Alta Lake. Diaries of earlier explorers often contain mention of bloodthirsty mosquitoes and feet-sucking swamps, of thick bush and impassable mountain creeks. 3 hard-fought days after they had left Vancouver, Myrtle and Alex finally pulled into Mahogany John's cabin at Alta Lake. For the Phillips, they had found the paradise they had dreamt of. It was home.
She got 10 acres in 1912, I think it was, paid $700 for 10 acres. And there is where they started to build their fishing dream.
Every log and plank was cut by hand. Trees were felled and pulled by horses to the building site. Every nail, bolt, and pane of glass was carefully transported over the Pemberton Trail. They named it the Rainbow Lodge, after the dream they'd been chasing, their own pot of gold, and because of the trout. But their splendid isolation wouldn't last long. Just a year after they first broke ground, the mountain-defying Pacific Great Eastern Railway, or the PGE as it was called, arrived in Alta Lake. Fortunately for Myrtle and Alex, it stopped right in front of the Rainbow Lodge.
Let's stop over at Rainbow and visit lovely Alta Lake. From Vancouver to Alta Lake by Union Steamship and PGE is a grand holiday jaunt for those having limited time. Visitors enjoy an easy informality. Horseshoe pitching is fun. But riding is and always will be the high point of a holiday in this country.
And Myrtle was right there amongst them all, ensuring that her many guests were well cared for.
She loved it. She just flourished under it. She would go hiking with them, she would go riding with them, she would take them out and show them how to fly cast. She enjoyed that life so much that she was a perfect hostess, I would say. Perfect hostess.
She delivered babies, tended to broken legs, and most importantly of all, kept bellies full.
They had a store. It was the community well, if you would, a meeting place where everybody went on the train day because the mail came in, and the mail would get sorted, and Myrtle was the postmistress while she was running the whole thing.
Despite her unwavering love and belief in the sanctity of the great outdoors, Myrtle never frowned upon progress. She was there as skiers replaced loggers in the 60s and watched with an open heart and mind as her beloved Whistler became a year-round, world-class resort destination. Myrtle Phillip died in 1986 at age 95. Her life in Whistler spanned over 7 decades.
You miss her for her stories and cribbage and tea and just being Myrtle, you know, and it was very special to have known her. Very, very special. Yeah. Yeah, good times.
With confidence and style, she guided the growth of Whistler from a remote lake in the woods to an international resort destination. There was nowhere else she would have rather been. This is where she belonged. A pioneering woman and an inspiration to generations of ski bums, eccentrics, and alpine dreamers, all who came to this spectacular valley in search of their own gold.